Are you ready? Stand by.
Welcome to the Three Gun Show, your source for technique, strategy, and match recon, brought to you by Armalite Rifles, LAG Tactical, and Breda Shotguns. I'm your host, Dave Hartman. This edition of the Three Gun Show is a match recon podcast of the 2017 Wyoming Governor's Match. All right, we're back with Christy Hiring of Aguila Ammunition. Christy, you've got a big match coming up with the Aguila Cup, and there's going to be Sporting Clay's 5-stand VTASC. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yes, correct, VTASC. Rimfire,
and of course, my favorite 3-gun. So, Christy, we don't see all these sports in the same place at the same times. This is kind of an interesting event.
Yeah, this originally started 3 years ago in Mexico. We held the first event that was Copa Aguila in Acapulco, and then have had it in Guadalajara the past 2 years. It started off as a first-time event that's now turned into the largest shooting event in Latin America, and we wanted to bring that same event to the U.S. And really, the idea behind it is to create an event that represents a cross-section of the shooting sports. Not that there's just one shooting sport out there that fits everybody. I think for us as an industry and as a manufacturer in the industry, we have to let people know that there are all types of options when you want to think about getting into the shooting sports. So we wanted to involve Sporting Clay's rimfire and 3-gun. And we want to have people that are experts, and we want to have people that are new shooters. We want to have people that have never even touched a gun but have wanted to learn more about shooting. So we want this to be all-encompassing. We want people to feel comfortable coming out there and trying their luck for the first time at a competition and not feeling intimidated. We want them to know they can come out there and learn what they need to learn. We're going to have National Shooting Sports Foundation out there running their First Shots program. So if you're not familiar with shooting, you can easily get up to speed on rifles, handguns, or shotguns while you're there. You can do some demos. We'll have demos available with several different manufacturers. So really, it's just about growing the shooting sports and even teaching those within the shooting sports. There's a lot of different ways to get involved. And even if you're an expert in one style of shooting, take a chance and learn about one of the other shooting sports just to get a better feel and help us all grow the industry together.
I love it. Well, my audience is largely 3-gunners, and we can actually go out there and try something new now. And folks, if you're listening and you want to check this out, be sure to bring your friends so they can get exposed to the different types of shooting sports that are out there as well. This is June 14th through the 17th in Decatur, Texas. And if you're interested, check out shootaguilacup.com, AGUILA. Thanks for being here, Christy.
Thanks for having me.
This podcast is brought to you by LAG Tactical. I've been using LAG gear for 3 years now, and I just got an upgrade into their new for 2018 MCS mag pouches. MCS stands for Modular Carry System and is a 2-piece design that fits most double-stack 9 and 40 mags and most AR mags. That means I can loan gear to someone in need on the range, even if we're shooting different guns. I've been using these pouches for many matches now, and they've been great. I like that you can choose the retention based on what is required by the stage, Speed Demon or Locked In Tight. I've been shooting the low-cut Supernova holster as well, and it has been a dream. They make it in a mid and high cut too if you're into that, but I'm digging the low cut. Super fast draws and plenty of retention when you need it. Check them out, lagtactical.com, and use code 3GS in all caps to save yourself 10% when placing an order. Thank you for tuning in to the 3-Gun Show podcast. Usually I talk a little bit about what's been going on in the 3-Gun Show world right here, but I wanted to take this time to explain this podcast. This is the 6th Match Recon podcast that I recorded, and this match was August 2017. So why the long delay in releasing it? Well, first, Match Recon podcasts are available exclusively for patrons for the first 90 days. If you like this type of content and you want to hear it real time, you can become a patron by supporting the show at patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon. Also, as you'll hear in the show, there were some major things that I felt were wrong with this match, and I wasn't alone. But I do have the biggest platform and felt that I needed to shoot it straight for the sake of patrons who support the show and for you. When I released the show on the Patreon feed, I also made a Facebook and Instagram post to go along with it. And as you will soon understand, there was some fallout. Multiple phone conversations, emails, etc. came of this. I listened to the podcast again recently in preparation for releasing it here, and I have to say that with the gift of time on my side, it definitely sounds harsh, but I stand by it. I can tell that I have emotion in my voice when we're recording this, but all the data and all the observations about the match are true. So this match is happening again for 2018 under new management, and I'll be there shooting it. So it'll be interesting to see how it compares to the 2017 match. 2 last points of clarification that I was asked to make on the podcast. First, the story that I heard about the feds and the MRAPs was not accurate. And second, Thunder Beast Arms is a completely separate company than Competition Dynamics. As always, the conversation starts on the podcast, and you can contribute on the blog at 3gunshow.com/episode 192. Now, enjoy this match recon of the 2017 Wyoming Governor's match. Welcome to the 3 Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and joining me today is special guest host, Adam Maxwell. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
Good. What
Good.
match do we shoot today?
Dude, we are here to talk about the Magpul Wyoming Governor's match, and as usual, this match recon is brought to you by Armalite, and I actually shot my little Armalite in this match, so
Little guy?
apropos. Little guy, 13.5 incher.
You know, it's a fad. It's taken over. Everyone's doing it.
I like it.
I dig it as well.
Yeah.
I even went 11 inches.
The only, always got to be a 1-upper or a 2-downer.
Because mine is shorter?
The only issue that I found is shooting from rooftops.
What?
Like fake rooftops, you know,
Yeah.
they put in matches. Like, for me, like with a 30-round magazine, the longer the handguard, the better. When you've got those shots way out there.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I find that to be completely irrelevant
Okay.
because I took a drink from the chalice of the mag hook over the top.
Oh, you did? Oh, tell me
Yes.
about that. Tell me about that, because I've never tried that in a match.
It took me a long time to try it too.
Please describe the mag hook.
The mag hook is where on a rooftop prop, instead of going pool cue style on
Which
the
is
top.
what I was describing, where you
Yep.
have one point of contact, which is your magazine.
Yep.
The other point of contact being your handguard.
Yeah, and then you're like trying to like spall up behind this thing.
Yes.
You know, like you're like reverse kneel with the heel tuck and the knee twitch, and you know, instead what you can do is go all the way to the gap between your magazine and your grip and hang off that way. And I was like, no.
So magazine on one side, grip on the other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so like where your fingers are like very close to the ridge of
Right.
the rooftop.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, man, no, I'm going to pinch my fingers, but he's not bracing the front of the rifle. But last year at Ironman, I tried it, and I'm a believer.
Cool.
Because you can basically go prone.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you basically just flop down, and you got you got both elbows on the roof, basically. Your fire control elbow is on the roof, and you basically wrap your other elbow, and you can tuck it into the rooftop, and then you can pivot the rifle wherever it needs to go, really. So as long as you can support your weight, you know, with your feet, you know, whatever ridges they give you.
Yeah, they usually
As long
do
as
some
you
sort of
can,
ridge.
as long as you can lay there comfortably, You can 100% monopod the rifle wherever it needs to go, and because of the way your elbows wrap around the ridge of the rooftop, it's awesome. Like, I ain't never going back.
Do both your elbows wrap across the ridge, or just the
nope, the other one, the other one's grounded on the rooftop itself.
The fire control side.
Yeah, but your other one like wraps over the top.
Interesting.
So you have all kinds of points of contact.
Dude, I'm gonna try that.
You should try it.
You just blew my mind. I'm glad we talked about this.
But Magpul.
Yes.
Magpul Governor's match.
Magpul Governor's match. So
the match that you told me like 10 times you were going to, and I'm like, where?
Wyoming, baby.
Like, I know Wyoming's a place, and there are many
Yeah.
reasons to travel there. I have traveled there before.
Wyoming's
Never
a great
for a
place.
3-gun match.
Yeah, so me neither, first of all. And let me tell you a little story. So last year, I got a call from my buddy Drew. My buddy Drew Bolt. What up, Drew? And Drew and Matt Young, another friend of mine, run a match in northern Colorado called the Weld County Fish and Wildlife 3-gun match.
That's a mouthful.
It's at Weld County Fish and Wildlife, and it's 3-gun, so it works. So they've run that. They've run that for a number of years. Two dudes I really respect in the game, very influential in Colorado. Also, just really nice people, right?
Is that where the soundbite for your bumper music comes from?
That is Dan Troxel, and that was a different match, but he also shoots Weld County Fish and Wildlife.
Okay.
Well, fun fact. Also ran a side match with Dan Troxel at a Colorado 3-gun championship, which we'll talk about in another Match Recon.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting.
Stay tuned.
Fun little story
make
about
sure
that
you stay
one.
current on your Patreon account.
Yeah, fun little story about that one. But anyway, so Drew hits me up, and he's like, hey, Dave, do you remember Nephi Cole that we shoot with at Weld County Fish and Wildlife?
Wait, that's a person?
Yes, Nephi Cole.
Oh. Thanks, Mom.
He is the chief policy advisor to the governor of Wyoming, and he wants us to come up for a Wyoming day at the range. And I was like, well, I don't remember that guy at all, but I'd be happy to come up because
You had me at day at the range.
Well, yeah, exactly. Day at the range, Wyoming, and it just happened to work out timeline-wise where I was actually still in Colorado at the time.
Yeah.
Visiting a friend of mine. So, hour and 10 minutes to Cheyenne, no big deal. Also, opportunity to have the governor of Wyoming on the podcast, which I did last year, which was fantastic.
Yahtzee.
I will link to that in the show notes if you're interested. Dear Future Dave, link to that in the show notes. So,
aha.
So we went up there, and Drew and Matt were putting on a 3-gun demonstration. This is a demonstration of 3-gun. There was also a demonstration of like NRA Bianchi pistol. There was also like a demonstration of various other things that I can't remember because this was a year ago. But most notably, Chris Costa was there. Wait, most notably, Drew and Matt were there. Second notable, Chris Costa was there.
Was this the match that he shot incognito?
This was not a match. This was just a day at the range. It was a demo. Each individual or group had their own bay, and so Costa did the Costa thing on his bay.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Dude, Costa had like I don't even know what it was, like a what's that mosquito? Is this a Sig mosquito? Like the Walther 22 mosquito. I don't remember what the hell.
Oh, okay.
He had a 22 automatic pistol, tiny little guy that he costed the shit out of, like straight out of the Magpul videos, right? Mm-hmm. And I said Magpul on purpose. But he brought it into his workspace. It has a suppressor on it. Brings it into his workspace. Indexes the magazine. Goes to the magwell. Slams it home. Racks the slide. Back on target. And it was so totally quintessential Costa. And it was a 22. It was so cute. But the reason that he had that 22 was to show a reporter like how to shoot. he taught a reporter how to shoot from one of the local Cheyenne news stations. And then you go down the line, there's a couple more things, and all the way you get down to the end, there's like a long-range demonstration by a couple companies like Wyoming Arms and Thunder Beast Arms, and it was pretty cool. We shot out to like 670 yards or something like that. So part of this announcement of the Wyoming Day at the range was that there's going to be this match called the Wyoming Governor's Cup, and it was going to be a 2-gun match. There was also a I guess they call it a postal match, where you shoot a set standard of drills and then you mail in your score.
I've done those before.
Yeah, and then there was also funding released for the improvement or generation of more shooting ranges. The idea is to get more shooting, more competition shooting in recreational shooting in Wyoming, right? It was also a thank you to the firearms companies that are a big part of Wyoming's culture and their economy. Notably, the companies that fled my home state of Colorado for the greener pastures that are northern from the state and in Wyoming.
Thanks, Hickenlooper.
Thanks, Hickenlooper, you motherfucker. Cocksucker.
I have no opinion.
I'll probably bleep that out. Trust me, I'm correct.
His name sounds like he's a cartoon character.
And he's
much like our governor, hard to take seriously.
And he's a piece of shit. So, he took a lot of Bloomberg money, so I think that automatically makes him a piece of shit. Anyway, so Magpul left, High-Vis left, Thunder Beast left, and there was one other company I always forget. I can't remember. But point is, they had this Wyoming Day at the range. They announced this Wyoming Governor's Cup. Turns out, this is kind of funny. No one told me this, but I did some research. I'm like, why did they call it the Wyoming Governor's Match? I thought we were calling it the Wyoming Governor's Cup.
Either way, that PR person should be fired.
The Wyoming Governor's Cup is actually a tennis match.
Oh, well, that's
so
lame.
They had to change the name to the Wyoming Governor's Match. And then Magpul came on as the title sponsor, and so it became the Magpul Wyoming Governor's Match of 2017. So that's what I shot. So that's a little bit of background on where this came from. So this is the fruition, the culmination of a year or more worth of work by the Wyoming Governor's Office and their partner, Competition Dynamics, who was chosen to run this match. And it was announced at that Wyoming Governor's Day at the range last year.
I've heard lots of interesting things about Competition Dynamics matches.
Cool.
They're made to sound like match ninjas. So
I've
always heard they're doing interesting stuff out west, but I have no experience personally. So I'm curious how this one turned out.
I've heard really good stuff about their long range matches. Their
I know they're PRS focused. And I definitely know the Thunder Beast guys associated with it. That's kind of what they're into.
Yeah,
so.
Resurgence had like a Resurgence, the JP Enterprises Resurgence match had a lot of mixed reviews.
Yeah,
don't
even get me started on Resurgence.
Well, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go there because that's pertinent to this match.
Sweet.
So
we got on a tangent last time. I got in trouble.
The match that I shot was the Magpul Wyoming Governor's Match, which was August 3rd through 6th at the Auto Road Range in Cheyenne, Wyoming. This was a time plus penalties match, which was points. Also, 1A to neutralize, 1A or B, 2C or 4D.
That's a lot of math for Wyoming people.
It is. The rule set was USPSA-ish with additional competition dynamics rules.
USPSA-ish, that does not bode well.
Correct.
Oh, my goodness.
Correct.
This is going to be a mess.
With additional competition dynamics rules. Their quote was, USPSA safety rules are the baseline for safety at this match. In addition to that, there were many competition dynamics rules, and those are available on the Competition Dynamics website. This was not on practice score.
Hey, man, Rocky Mountain does it.
And when it was brought up that, hey, this should be on practice score. It was met with a very vocal and curt response from the stats guy, which reminds me
Tell
of,
me more.
So I was not aware of it. I was not party to this, so I shouldn't tell the whole story.
Oh, so it's secondhand?
Secondhand, but
Okay.
someone that I know from the 3-gun community said, hey, why don't you guys do this on practice score? This free software, it's available. It was no competition dynamics match will ever be held on practice score. Harumph.
Because they're not sure this whole internet thing's going to catch on.
Right. Let's see. Okay, so quick stats. This was a on-off match. And there were 3 stages the first day, 3 stages the second day, and 1 stage the third day. Is that right? I think there were 8 stages. However that math works out. So maybe it was 4, 3, and 1. Something like that. It was real dumb. And we had to be there on Thursday night for a mandatory shooters meeting. So
Did anything of substance get covered in the mandatory shooters meeting?
no, and then turns out later it was actually not mandatory, although they told no one that it was not mandatory.
But they could have totally just made a video and put it on YouTube?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes. Well, I take that back. So scoring was covered in the shooters meeting, which turned out to be very important. So here's how scoring works. So they give you 8 pieces of paper, numbered stage 1 through stage 8.
Mm-hmm. Like the olden times.
And there is only 1 piece of paper.
What?
You have to put your own name and your own shooter number on there. And then when you're done with your stage, the RO writes your time on your card. Excuse me. On your card, hands it back to you. And then you have to go put that in an ammo can.
What?
And then if you lose one of your cards, or if your card comes up missing, it is your fault as the competitor. So the question was asked, what happens if after we turn that card in, it's lost? The answer was, we do not lose cards. It is your fault if that card is lost. So I know what you're saying, Adam. So I know what you were thinking. Like, I didn't really have to shoot this match. All I had to do was see what the best time on my squad was, write down my own score 1 second faster, and then stuff it in the can. But I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't.
Right.
But we know.
What's to
some
stop
guys
anyone
who
else from
would.
doing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only record of your time. They don't write it down on any additional piece of paper or anything. Mm-hmm. That's the only additional thing. No RO initials it. There's no stamp. There's no punch card like when you go to TCBY and you get that 13th frozen yogurt and it's free.
I do like that.
There was nothing like that.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I have no standard response for that.
How do you defend that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, moving on. So the
Weird.
yeah, so it was on off schedule. You were on 1 and then off like 2. So you had like 30 minutes of shooting and then you're off for like 2.5 hours. It was really weird.
In Wyoming.
Wyoming.
Where are you going to go?
Well, we just hung out by the trailers and like chilled in the shade pretty much. But I mean, where would you go anyway? You know?
Right.
So the match fee was $295.
Okay.
The let's see. Oh crap! I forgot to put the division winners. Oh, you know what? I don't have the division winners here, and the reason I don't have the division winners here is because 1, they're not on practice score. They are published on Competition Dynamics website, but they are marked Competition Dynamics proprietary information, cannot be republished without permission. And I did not get permission. So I can't tell you who the winners were.
Well, They could tell you, but they'd have to kill you.
Well, I didn't get permission, so I can't tell you. So the it's not that funny. So there were 3 divisions. There were a limited division, which is actually pretty cool. So it's iron sights only. It's not like red dot.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a dude on our squad that actually won the limited division, and he won it, with iron sights and like a 14.5-inch rifle, and he like freaking rocked the house. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was really cool. Can't tell you who that was, though, because, again, it's proprietary information, and I did not get permission.
I could tell you that guy should definitely buy a Spitfire, though.
So limited division is iron sight rifle and USPSA limited division pistol. Makes sense, right?
Yep.
So tactical optics was an open rifle, any number of optics, and any muzzle device, and a USPSA limited division pistol. And then open division is an open rifle and an open pistol.
Well, I mean, it's Wyoming. So, and by that, I was picking on Wyoming before, but Wyoming is a vast place.
Again,
So, like, I could.
state of Wyoming didn't run this match.
Yeah.
So remember that part.
No, I get it, but like Wyoming's a vast place, so it might be fun to shoot an otherwise open rifle in TAC Ops division. Okay, like in other parts of the country, I would say
Throw one open, for God's sake.
Well, yeah, but like I could see where like I could fathom why a group of people would think that would be fun. Mm-hmm. But in other parts of the country, that would be stupid. But in that part of the country, I was like, oh, okay.
Especially when most of the AR-15s I've seen in Wyoming, because they don't have a lot of trees.
No.
They have like X to X power scope. They don't have like 1 to X, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like a 1 to 6. They have like a 4 to 10.
Yeah.
On most AR-15s.
Yeah, I mean they want to shoot with SPRs and
there's not a lot of SPRs.
SPRs.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Yes.
So they want to shoot with DMR rifles.
Yes.
And iron sight pistols.
Designated marksman or special purpose rifle.
Yeah. Special purpose rifle.
Yeah.
And I mean I don't get the whole you have to use real irons because I mean I get that, but at the same time not enough people are going to sign up for that division.
Yeah.
I mean PCC is like on fire right now. I blatantly invited a bunch of PCC people to shoot PCC this weekend, and they wouldn't do it.
Yep.
So like making a suck division that no one's gonna want to shoot.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people shot it.
Can't tell you. It's proprietary information.
This is turning into a theme.
I could tell you, but I honestly don't know because.
Do you have enough fingers?
Yeah, if you vamp for a minute, I will find the answer to your question.
Yeah, I'm just curious because like there's lots of interesting ideas for divisions, but like
these all seem like old school ideas, right?
Yeah, but at the same time like a lot of people still have those rifles, like so it's like, oh yeah, let's get out our old timey stuff, and I do a match like that. We call it the Banana Clip Classic, and it's like, all right, let's get out our AKs. We all have AKs.
I didn't save the scores probably because I didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
So I can't
download the virus.
I can't tell you how many people were in there.
Yeah.
But
I'm just curious. Like, I don't even really care what the number is. Like, were there enough people for it to be like a viable division?
Yes, less than 10.
Okay.
Like they had a significant prize for first place.
They had a small clan, but not a platoon.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to tell you how many people won the match, but again, those scores are proprietary, so I didn't feel like taking any information from them was good. Let's see. So I covered divisions. Other opportunities, there were live fire demos from machine gun tours, which you could, usual thing.
I know what those words mean individually.
Machine Gun Tours is a company in Colorado that lets you rent machine guns and shoot them. So basically, they have like
inside or outside?
Outside. Ooh. So they have all these machine guns lined up in at the bay in Wyoming, and you can go and you can pay $20 for 20 rounds or $50 for 50 rounds or whatever it is. I don't know, and shoot them.
Do you get 10% off if you yell "get some" while you do it?
I don't think so. They also had a side match called the Wyoming 100.
What's that?
That is the postal match that I was telling you about, and it's to find the top 100 shooters in Wyoming. That's what they call it, the Wyoming 100. So they had that there so you could do it. And if you were a Wyomingite and you scored beyond a certain range, then you could get a patch. But since I wasn't from Wyoming and most of the dudes I was shooting with from Wyoming or weren't from Wyoming, most of us didn't shoot it because we couldn't get patches.
What fun is a club if you can't tell people they can't be in it?
Yeah, no kidding. But that said, the Wyoming 100 is actually kind of interesting. It's kind of a cool thing. It's like a...
I just kind of like the postal matches.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a very basic, like a rifleman's type of thing.
Yeah.
You shoot a few shots standing. You shoot a few shots prone. Maybe kneeling or something like that. I don't know. Last year at the Wyoming Day at the Range, the governor actually ran through the whole gamut, which was kind of cool to see a governor run a gun, you know?
Yeah, right.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that was one of the highlights. There was another side match that seeded you into a shoot-off for the final day. And the side match was $40. And the side match was shoot one round with your rifle, dump it, shoot one round with your pistol. Fastest such and such times advance to the shoot-off. $40. That was canceled due to lack of interest, surprisingly.
I can't imagine why people wouldn't want to pay $20 to shoot one time. What was the target?
I honestly don't know. I didn't even go over and look because it was just like...
Just laughable?
I don't even know. I just didn't... I had no interest in looking, like even not even for the Match Recon. Like later I was like, well, I should have went and looked, but okay, so that is the quick stats.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So then what was the flavor of this match? It sounds a bit different than what we're used to.
It is. It really is. So this was a two-gun match. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So it was a rifle and pistol only. I had to leave my my beautiful shotgun Black Betty at home, and she was not happy.
I can't imagine so.
And so, I mean, that's not a big deal. Two-gun matches are kind of cool, you know, different sort of thing. We shoot all shotgun matches and stuff like that. So the concept is all right, but this match was very old school. It was, if you hear anyone talking about, like, the days of Soldier of Fortune, this was kind of a flavor of that. It was a very simple match, super simple arrays. It was very, very, very anti-gamer. The stage descriptions were so long and so detailed that they really kept you from gaming or strategizing any sort of portion of the match whatsoever. And there was not much thinking involved. It was go to this box, shoot these, go to this box, shoot these. There was really only one way to shoot most of the stages. So there was 8 stages, and of those 8 stages, there were 6 stages that had the entire array for the entire stage lined up on the back berm.
What?
Side by side. Yep. There was 1 stages with walls that was built by the match directors.
Okay.
And those walls were those T-posts that you guys have out here that you attach 2x2s to and make walls.
Yep.
They were T-posts only with construction fencing strewn in between. Those were walls.
What was the span?
How tall are 5 feet?
Oh, okay.
So how tall are those? Like 3.5 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the walls were 3.5 feet tall. You could see most of the heads of the IPSC targets above them, but of course they go to infinity, so you can't shoot them. and this is how I found out. So I was looking at that stage. I'm like, wow, I can shoot every single target from this point right here because I can see all the heads. So I went over to the stats guy, who was the only dude that was around that was like in a stable area because he was checking people in. And all the other ones were running around, so he was the only one I could find. And I said, those walls you put up, do those go to infinity per your USPSA rules, or is that one of the modified rules that you guys have? And he said, which walls? And I said, the only walls you put up in the entire match. There was one stage with walls that were erected by the match staff. The other walls were cowboy town facades that were already there. There was one stage that had you shooting from a tire. You had to have 1 foot in the tire. And then the next position was like a pallet that you had to shoot in the pallet. And this is rifle. The next one was a railing from like a stairwell that you had to shoot between. The next one was like a little cutout hole, like in a 1970s wood facade wall. And then the next one was another pallet. I think that is that 4 positions or 5? Doesn't matter. There's 5 positions. Then you dump your rifle. Then you go back through the opposite way with pistol. And that was about 25 yards worth of shots on that. And again, the rifle was...
How big were the targets?
Well, the rifle were IPSC targets covered by actual body armor.
Full IPSCs.
Yes, full paper IPSC targets covered by actual body armor. So you had to shoot them in the head, pretty much. And it was, again, 1A, 2B, or wait, 1A, 2C, or 4D. And then the pistol targets were have you ever seen like the silhouette targets of like Appleseed where it's like cut off on the shoulders and the chest and the head? Those were the steel targets that we shot most of the time. It was very clear that this was run by precision guys because that is a precision rifle target. Like that's not a pistol target. Right? There's no poppers. There was no poppers at all. So, So that was one.
Okay, well, so the stage you just described, that's not a challenging rifle shot.
No.
Not even really a challenging pistol shot.
No.
And
so now it's just as fast as you can get through it. Like our first stage of the day that we did on the very first day was an array of like, say, 12 targets or something like that. And you start – so this is the cool thing. They had 2 MRAPs there. And they had one Wyoming Highway Patrol car. You start inside the car, and you had to have the windows up with your hands on the steering wheel, which makes it very hard to hear the beep, right? Because you have to go through the windshield or the window and through your ear pro. So that part was a little bit difficult. But when you get out of the car, you go and you engage targets from this cone. And if you hit, you can shoot the next target and hit and shoot the next target and hit and shoot the next target. It's about 25 yards with a pistol. If you miss, you have to pick up this, not pick up, you have to drag this like 110-pound dummy 8 yards to the next cone, and then you can shoot from there. And then if you miss, you can have to drag it to the next cone and shoot from there. So what most people did was we picked up the, go over there, shoot one round in the berm. You have to make a concerted effort. That was the stage description. Make a concerted effort to hit the target, which I did, but I suck at shooting targets. So
you're in the wrong line of work, buddy.
Exactly. So, you throw a round downrange, pick up the dummy, and then just run for it. And every cone you hit, you throw another round downrange one-handed. And then you get as close as you possibly can, and then you just ding, 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 ding. Right? That was the fastest way to shoot it.
Wait, you lost me.
So instead of shooting it from 25 yards away, you're now shooting it from 10 yards away.
Right. So they wanted you to shoot it from 25 yards away or do this physical challenge.
Yes.
But it was by far easier to forego the marksmanship, take the physical challenge to get the easier shot.
Yes. And so part two of that is like if you think
Gaming the stage.
if you think about what the drill is for, it's a down friendly drill, right? You're getting out of your highway patrol car and you're supposed to go save someone. But instead of dragging that person, and it was a dummy, it was a real heavy ass sandbag dummy. Instead of dragging that dummy back to safety behind the patrol car, you're dragging it to the enemies. So, like, even the scenario didn't even make any sense. So that was just like one of the goofy things about the match flavor.
So can I skip categories on you then? Because I think it fits here.
Kind of want to stick, but go ahead.
So, what are the skills utilized in the match? Because I mean, this is a different style of 3-gun match than we typically talk about.
Yeah.
So,
I would say that for people who don't shoot, this was a marksmanship match. And from my understanding, that's the way Soldier of Fortune was shot, right? You just go straight out of your desk job or your factory job, you throw on your camis, and you go shoot Soldier of Fortune. You don't train all year for it. You know, you don't practice like we do now for matches. You know, so it was that kind of thing.
So the intended audience, if you will, of this match is not necessarily the athletic enthusiast action shooter.
Seemed that way. However, Jerry Kay and Lena Mitchell were there. Hunter Kale was there. All 5 Yackleys.
Right.
Andrew didn't. I don't think Andrew shot it. Craig Outson. Diane Ryan Muller. Like all the people that are in modern 3-gun, you know, several of the what you would call the high-profile people were there shooting it.
Did their sponsors sponsor the match?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So, and how many times have they done this match?
This is the first one.
This is the first one.
Yes.
Oh. Okay. So this isn't like a Jerry Micklick must attend because he's done it 3 times before. And
if I had to
he always
guess,
does this one.
it's because High-Vis, one of his sponsors, and Lucas Oil and Magpul were all sponsors of that match.
I've done that.
Well, I mean,
I've gone to matches because my sponsors wanted to go.
So for full disclosure, I went at the request and as a guest of Nephi Cole, the chief advisor to the chief policy advisor to the governor, specifically to cover the match for the podcast. Right.
Okay. So yeah, but so skills utilized. It's not a strategy match. Is it an athleticism match?
No.
No.
I mean, other than dragging a 110-pound dummy, not really.
Okay. And then the shots themselves the shooting doesn't sound that hard either.
Not necessarily. So here's the weird thing. So this is one unusual thing that I've not yet run into in all the matches that I've shot. Usually, if you have a shot past 100 yards, they will give you something to brace on or give you a clear view to shoot it prone. There was a 375, 275, and 175-yard shot that there was no way to go prone and there was nothing to brace on. So you had to sit, kneel, stand, or because they did this weird open gun thing for TAC Ops, you could bring those goofy-ass bipods that everyone shoots in IPSC rifle, right? Or somewhere along the line.
The long, like, 2-footers?
Yes.
Oh.
No, 4-footers or something like that.
Okay.
For the kneeling. So somewhere along the line, one of the shooters brought out a chair, like a folding lawn chair like you're sitting in. And the RO is like, well, hey, this is open division, so they get to shoot that. So then now everyone after that guy gets to bring out whatever they want. So, like, we literally brought a precision rifle tripod that we set up on and shot reverse kneel off a tripod. Just had to carry it with us the whole time.
What?
Yeah. I know.
You're making this up.
No.
This wasn't a real match.
No, it was not a real match. Like, it was one of the weirdest weekends I've ever been involved in.
Huh.
Yeah. So
we skipped terrain. What's the terrain like there?
So terrain, it's all bays except for the very last stage, stage 8, which is the long range stage, and then it was just like flat-ish ground with weeds and shit. So pretty much just call it all bays.
Okay, well, what are the bays like? I mean, roughly what size are they?
30 by 30 by 30, 30 by 30 by 50.
30 by 30 by 30? And 50?
Wait, am I saying that right? 30 by 30 or 30 by 50. They were not very deep. Some of them were 75 yards, but ish, I guess. I don't know. Huh? They weren't very deep. There was nothing deeper than you would get here at Forest Lake. It's a very heavy cowboy action range. Like, they have a very active cowboy action club.
Okay.
In fact, Sunday they had a cowboy action match shoot at the same time we were shooting, which is odd because there's a shitload of bays there.
Were those guys having fun?
They seem to.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, farthest shot and number of long-range shots. So, there was a 475, 275, and 175, and then you moved to a different position, and it was 365, 265, 165, 355, 255, 155. There was another stage where it was like between 210 and 260, and that part was actually cool because we got to shoot from the gun turret of an MRAP.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, which apparently civilians are not supposed to do, and the feds actually
super naughty
came to audit the MRAPs the weekend we were shooting. So they got some sort of tip or something from the
they got their pee-pee slapped?
Yeah, some sort of dude in the Cheyenne Police Department or something.
That bribe was not big enough.
Well, so the governor's Governor's match, right? Governor wants, Governor gets. Highway patrol car out there, no problem.
Yep.
2 MRAPs out there, no problem. But somebody in the department, thought his I don't know, power was being challenged by the governor and tipped off the feds. And literally the feds, I don't know which feds, were out there auditing what you're using. They're civilians shooting from this. They can't shoot from this. Yeah, crazy, huh?
Oh.
So, moving on to logistics. Check-in was easy. You just came in, said, hey, I'm this guy. He marked you off on the list. No big deal. Stage descriptions were posted on a picnic table, so we took photos of them. And I was reading them off my phone. And then my buddy Drew's like, after we got done like walking like 5 or 6 stages, he's like, hey, man, I'm going to get my iPad because I'm too old and I can't see. I think he used different words. But he's like, I'm too old and I can't see the print. I'm like, okay. So gets his iPad, takes a picture of each of them, and we get some snacks and water, and we go back out to go walk the rest of them. And he's reading something, and I'm reading on my phone. I'm like, whoa, wait. And so I look, and they're completely different. Stage descriptions are completely different.
No.
And it was only like 3 hours later.
What?
Yeah. So the stage descriptions they had when we checked in versus the stage descriptions that we had 3 hours later after we'd walked like 5 of the stages were completely different. So
for real?
Yeah. So the scoring was wonky just because of the 1A, 2C, 4D sort of thing. The penalties for long-range targets weren't enough to make you actually want to shoot them.
Wait. So these guys are long-range guys.
Yeah.
And they didn't heavily incentivize the long-range targets?
Right. Well, and again, there's lots of stuff going on. So this is a match that is run by Competition Dynamics with the wishes of the governor's office, right? So from what I hear from Competition Dynamics, they had to bring the long range in to 375 yards and make the penalties not so stiff to where people that were invited guests and dignitaries wouldn't feel bad about missing those targets. Right? So 10 seconds instead of like a significant penalty for a long range target. That's what I was told.
And these are the people who want to control your health care.
No. Wyoming does not want to control your health care. Minnesota and Colorado do, but Wyoming does not. So, prize table was one of the best and most organized prize table walks I've ever seen. It was click, 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 click. They did really well. Also, one of the coolest things that I've ever seen in a prize table is the governor of Wyoming read off every sponsor in the match and thanked them with special note to obviously the ones that were from Wyoming and just came to Wyoming with a huzzah and a round of applause. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay.
So the venue, just right off I-25, west of Cheyenne, pretty easy. As far as pre-communication, there was a decent amount of information on the website. I didn't get any emails beforehand, but I wasn't signed up beforehand, as usual. So it's kind of weird for me. But I was told there were not any emails coming out. It was all the information was on the website, and it was actually pretty complete. Squatting. Let me tell you about squatting.
Was it on practice squad?
No. So squatting on the website said, and Competition Dynamics has this real problem with an egregious use of all caps, which if you know what all caps means, it's screaming in internet speak, right? So basically it was like, you will send only one email with your squad information, you know? So
I didn't ask that question.
Yeah. That's basically it. So it's like you're supposed to choose a captain for your squad. There's 6 people on a squad, and then you send an email, and they'll squad you with those people, which again seems way more harder than actually putting it on practice score. So, I got some reports from some other people who joined late and wanted to squad with their buddies when they sent a second email to Competition Dynamics to get their squad. Hey, can we add this person?
DQ?
I'm sorry, you've already sent one email. You will send no more emails.
That's really?
Yeah. That was their customer service response.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It felt like you should be happy, lucky, and privileged to shoot their match.
For $300.
Yeah. And I tell you what, as far as let's see. Okay, maybe we cover this in the fun factor, but as far as value, this was not a $300 match. This was like a $80 one-day match, one-day extravaganza that you would throw at the end of the year for your club match. I mean, those are the stages. Like, have you ever shot like a Wednesday night pistol league where, you know, Jim Bob, who's been doing it for 10 years, comes out and he's giving his last fuck on the match, and he he's like, pull out 5 poppers and put them over here, and we'll put 2 boxes here, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That was the level of thought and intent that went into this match. Like the stages, the designs were absolutely terrible. If you take away the highway patrol car and the 2 MRAPs that were there, you had no match. You know? Huh. And if you pull an MRAP into a bay and there's 12 targets on the back part of the bay, and now that's a stage, that's a lazy stage design, right? I mean, there's nothing involved in that whatsoever. There's no thought, no prep. You know, they I mean, it was ridiculous. The let's see. Oh, moving on. Staff.
Oh, no.
There was 1 or 2 dudes that were egregiously aggressive over the line. Right?
In what way?
Shoving competitors, shouting at competitors. Like just, and I hate to say it because it sounds like ageist, but I'm trying to like defend them when I say it, but just old dudes that don't know it's not okay to shove people anymore. And
Yeah.
it's not okay.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah. The range commands were non-existent. None of them had any sort of consistency across the board. There was a dude that was either calling hit or impact, depending on whatever his mind came up with first. And that's, and then the last shot you took on that same stage, instead of hit or impact, he would go, ha!
What?
It's like, that is not, if you're finished on load and show clear, that is not a hit. That is not an impact. That was what he would say after your last shot. He did it on me, and he did it on like 5 dudes after me. So what I would say here is if you look at all the ROs down the range, the governor's office used a lot of their contacts to get volunteers to be at this match for range officers. You had many, many, many law enforcement officers. You had Highway Patrol, you had Cheyenne PD, you had sheriffs, and they were all wearing their badges and their guns and everything, and they were there, and they were very nice. There was a couple dudes that were, with competition dynamics that were not quite as nice. And there's one dude that we know from way back in the old school that I had no problems with, but I heard some other shooters had problems with. That is also with competition dynamics. But the volunteer squad of like law enforcement officers and civilians that came to support this match had their best intentions, but were just improperly trained. They weren't, and in my mind, I call that a failing again of competition dynamics because they're the ones that run the match, right? So it's the impetus is on them to get the range commands in their range officers' minds to have a consistent rule set, to not allow gamers to game if you don't want them to game, because once they game, then you have to let everyone game, like bringing a tripod. There was literally a dude that strapped a camp chair to his ass on a long-range stage and brought a tripod and sat down in that chair with the tripod and took shots, and that was okay because he was open division. So when he stood up and ran, the chair was still attached to his ass.
Which would be hilarious.
It was actually pretty funny. It's on my Instagram. You should check it out. But there was no unload show clear. I heard that probably one time the entire match when they said, make ready. One time I took my pistol out and there was a target that was touching distance, if my arms were just a little bit longer. And I drew and I pointed on that target and the RO shouted, no sight pictures. I'm like, no sight pictures? What are you talking about?
IDPA.
Well, and also, say that before I draw. Say that in the stage description. Don't just shout it at me as I'm getting ready or making ready, So the ROs were consistently inconsistent, and I don't think there was any sort of briefing whatsoever, at least from my perspective. Like, they were so far inconsistent that it's not even like they were the same inconsistent. They were just way off. One guy, when you were done shooting, shouted, "You're done!" instead of unload show clear. There was RO that would consistently forget to clear you, and we all clear ourselves, and he would just like walk in front of the gun as it was being cleared. It was weird, dude. It was really weird.
Huh.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you're a pretty objective person about this stuff. Like,
yeah.
I don't,
and I've been a lot of places.
You don't have anything to gain. In fact, you stand quite a bit to lose by bashing a match.
Especially competition dynamics, because they're known to be punitive in their actions as well.
And they'll probably write it in all caps. But so I'm just trying to understand, because like any one of the things you have described could happen on accident as an oversight or a negligence, by a well-intended person.
Yes.
It makes my head hurt how many of these things you've said all went on simultaneously.
And it's been a month, so I've probably forgotten a lot of them.
Well, it's just like it's a legitimate question. Like, are you guys trying to screw it up? Like, I can't even fathom what end there would be to that.
I know. Doesn't make any sense.
Because I have absolutely no exposure to any of these people. I met Ray twice.
Ray.
Professionally from Thunder Beast. He's involved. No, Ray wasn't there?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I've met none of these dudes.
Right.
Isn't Zach from Thunder Beast
Yes.
involved? Okay.
Zach from Thunder Beast is also from Competition Dynamics. He's a stats guy.
Okay. Oh. Okay. 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 So I know none of these guys then. I know that Thunder Beast is tied in there somehow, and I met the Thunder Beast guy one time.
Yeah, it's like
professionally.
You work at Arnzen and you work at Hawkeye, but they're not connected. Wait, Hawkeye Ignite.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. So okay. Well, so I know none of these guys. It's just I don't, because this match doesn't. I've seen. There's a way that you could spin some of these things, or some of the things that you've described to be like, oh, we did this in the name of making an event for new shooters, or we did this in the name of trying to do a retro match, a Soldier of Fortune flavor match.
Yes, but it was not advertised as a retro match.
Okay, yeah, but you could spin pieces of this story to fit that paradigm.
Right.
All together, I'm just confused. Like,
yeah, dude, it was a very confusing match, and I will tell you that I had several interviews lined up with people that to do at this match, and no one would talk to me at this match because of the match. And you know how 3-gun is, right? Mm-hmm. No matter how shitty the match is, it's always like, had a great time at the blah, 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 and here's my shooting video.
And they all just
and no one has any balls to say anything about, like, if a match was bad or not. That's the way it is. But the resounding thing that I've seen is most people were silent from this match. There were a couple vocal few who said, who trashed it, calling it, junkyard nationals or whatever. And then there were a couple other people that, said had a good time, blah, blah, blah. But I did have interviews set up with several people, and everyone declined. I did not get any sort of content or interviews from this match at all because everyone was like, I don't want to talk about this match. I was like, we don't have to talk about this match. And they're like, no, I don't want to do it. They were afraid that it would come up. So
not only did you have a crappy weekend, you didn't even
zero content,
didn't even get any content
except
until a month later.
Right here.
Because I'm the only one who'll sit on the mic with you to talk about this.
Oh, no. Well, and I guess I should have warned you beforehand that it was going to be like this, but
I don't care.
I mean, there's going to be some freaking backlash for this, but I will say that, okay, so let's cover the last thing, fun factor. This match was not fun. Anyway, so that's the last thing. But I will say that I will never, ever, ever go to a 3-gun match held by Competition Dynamics again. And I don't recommend that any of my audience do. And I don't say that lightly. Like, this is not 1983. And we're not in Soldier of Fortune. And we've come to expect a higher level of competition, of thought that are put into stages, of equity, of standardized rule sets, of staff. Mm-hmm. The best parts about this match were organized by the governor's office. The 2 MRAPs were organized by the governor's office. There's no way that Competition Dynamics could swing that, right? Mm-hmm. There was lunch provided by, a local company. I don't know who swung that one, but that was very good. The prize table was phenomenal, and who knows if that's, competition dynamics doing all that work, or if it's because the governor's name is attached to it. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Prize table was ridiculous at this match, but especially for the level of match it was. The one person that I was able to, or the one person that I spoke to that, said, hey, Dave, enjoy your show, blah, blah. Was chatting with him a little bit and found out that it was his first match. And he said he was having a great time. He loved the match. He said, I don't think it's worth $300, but I'm having a great time. So maybe my perspective is off. Maybe I've come to expect more. But let me tell you something, Adam. So governor's office understands. So let me back up real quick. So a lot of people tried to tell competition dynamics staff what they thought, give them feedback, actual feedback. Mm-hmm. And it was met with, go pound sand. This is how we're doing this. This is our match. You don't understand. We have all these political things to deal with, blah, blah, blah. Well, political things don't stop you from designing good stages. The governor's office recognized the failings, all right? They recognized that this wasn't up to the par of a national level match. But they're committed to making this up to the level of a national match. And that's what they wanted. That's what they contracted to have done, right? So I got to say that to the governor's office credit, they have reached out with a survey to all the shooters and said, what did you like? What didn't you like? How can we do it better? They've reached out to me to help consult on people that would be better fit to run a match. They're going to open it up for bidding, I guess, for lack of a better term, for people to run the match next year. CD will be involved. Some other people that we know will be involved in that sort of thing. And they are committed to making this a top-level match that people want to travel to.
Did they know you felt this way and that this was what you were going to put out?
Yes. Well, I don't know if they knew I was gonna put out, but they knew I felt this way.
Okay.
Yeah, because everyone felt this way. I'm the only one who's willing to say it. But so I can't write off the Wyoming Governor's match in the future because I know that I assume it will be run by different people. But I will say that I will not shoot another competition dynamics 3-gun match again. And I've heard from many people that their long-range matches are amazing.
I've heard that as well.
And from people I trust and in candor, people that have nothing to gain or lose by it, no one was around.
Ditto.
So I have to believe them, right? Mm-hmm. But I will say that based on this and from the reports that I've gotten from multiple independent parties from the Resurgence match that was held last year, their time has come and gone as far as 3-gun goes. They have not kept up with the time. The game has changed, and it's not the type of game that the current customer wants. And they don't care about what the current customer wants from what I've seen, from what I've spoken to them about.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I'm this is the first I've heard of any of this. I'm just kind of going off.
And I purposely didn't tell you about this.
Oh yeah.
Like, but gotta get to Minnesota.
But I knew the flavor. I mean, we've talked offline about it. But so to say I would never go to some organization's match again. I mean, never's a long time.
Yeah.
I still choose to believe that these are well-intentioned people. It's too much work.
Yeah.
To do it for anything other than good intentions. But I would say I would say my frustration is more in that like all these resources went towards putting on an event and it just missed the mark.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, think of what it could have been.
Big time.
You know?
Well, I tell you what. So I'm not a big fan of the on-off schedule, right? No big deal.
Yeah.
But I started to describe that first stage that we did with the highway patrol car. That took us 26 minutes for our entire squad. Mm-hmm. And we had an on-off with a 2.5-hour break after that. Mm-hmm. So we went and sat down for 2.5 hours. So
was a lot of the competitor base that you can't name, or are they agency people? Or were these mostly civilians?
Mostly civilians.
They were?
There was probably
there
was less than 10 agency people.
I'm still trying to figure it out because like there's law enforcement, there's SWAT matches and things like that. It's like 3-gun, but it's in that context, and if you don't understand that context, it doesn't make sense and it doesn't translate and whatnot. But it doesn't even sound like that. So
yeah, it was just lazy stage designs, is what it was, and I don't say that lightly. And when I started to do this Match Recon thing, one of the major match directors in the U.S. here reached out to me and said, hey, it's a pretty good idea, but you're probably going to get banned from some matches because of this. And I was like, well, no, because the intent is to tell people how to shoot these matches, and it's not a Yelp review, know, but like I can't in good conscience tell my audience like, yeah, you should shoot this match held by Competition Dynamics because it's terrible. Like they phoned it in. The stage designs were so lazy, so terrible that you would not recommend this to anyone you know. And again, I say that knowing like probably in a couple months here, I'm going to be working with the governor's office on making this a better match for 2018. Mm-hmm. Because again, they're committed to doing that. And so it's weird when you think about, because the way we think about matches, we think about like a match we go to and that's the match, right? But there's so many other things going on with it. Like we just talked about Pro-Am, right? Last year I heard, and I wasn't there, so I don't know. Last year I heard that many people were upset with the stages at Pro-Am. This year, people were completely impressed with Pro-Am. What changed? The match director and the match designer?
I've heard reviews like of similar tone to what you're saying about Pro-Am.
Yes.
I've heard opinions from people I know and respect say absolutely terrible things about Pro-Am to the point where I would not go.
Yes.
Or I have no interest in going.
Yes. But
our conversation about it has perhaps changed my mind.
Yeah. Well, and so that is one thing that we talk about on the show all the time. The people really make it, right? Mm-hmm. So the people that are concerned with 3-gun, the people that love 3-gun, the people that want to shoot 3-gun, the people who want to succeed, people that want to put on a good time, those are the people you want running a match. The people that just want to phone it in, those are the people you don't want running a match. Mm-hmm. So it's highly dependent upon that. So I'm conflicted here because on the one hand, we have the highest level of political office of the state of Wyoming, which this is unheard of, supporting competitive shooting, supporting the shooting sports in their state.
Right.
And you have to love, admire, and desire that for your own state.
Yeah, you want to believe that can succeed.
You want to believe in that.
Absolutely.
And you want to support that.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you have the folks that they contracted to hold this match put on a terrible match. So you have to believe in the vision. The execution wasn't great. And so the vision continues on, and you hope that the execution next year is better. Mm-hmm. You hope that they find someone or a group that is is able and willing to provide that service that we all want.
Yeah. I mean, even if you look at the price tag, I mean, $295, that's an expensive 3-gun match.
It's a very expensive 3-gun match. That's a Blue Ridge.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, pick your point, but like that's a premium match fee. This match sells out, so it costs this much. You know, supply and demand. We don't have enough slots for people, so we're up in the ante.
Yeah,
you know,
and
you're gonna get
first year match at $300.
Yeah, my first year match was $85.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
Because that's what I was worth.
Right. Yeah.
All right. That's what I was worth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still underpriced. But it goes up every year as we put on a better and better event. And I can look my customers in the eye and say, yeah, I think my match is worth $175. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you $175 worth of match. Mm-hmm. In fact, I guarantee you $200 worth of match, but I'll give you $25 off because we're cool. All right, you know.
Well, you know, there's a guy that's been on the show a couple times that is fond of saying, "All sins are forgiven at the prize table."
Yes,
and that is not the case at all. I wholeheartedly disagree. Because
what'd you walk with?
It doesn't matter what I walk with, but there were really good prizes on the prize table for every shooter out there. Like you probably got your entry fee back for almost every shooter out there.
Okay.
So, but the point is like that shit doesn't matter if it's a terrible match. You know, then you just had to endure 3 days, and then, you know, I could have went and bought $300 worth of whatever I got, you know.
Yeah, I would spend $300 on what I wanted, not what you decided that I qualified for. Well, not what was left when it was my turn.
Yeah, and then I would have watched Fast and the Furious 8 one more time.
Yeah.
It's a great movie, by the way.
I haven't seen it.
It's amazing. So,
I mean,
torn, dude.
It just makes me sad that this is out in the space. Yeah, I mean, no, these episodes aren't intended as a review, but they are intended as a tool for people who are spending limited resources to travel the matches.
Yeah, and so with that in mind, and the fact that
if Breckenridge sucked, we would say maybe try Vail.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and so you know what really put it into perspective is having these podcasts available to Patreon users or supporters first, because I know each one of those dudes by name now. You know, and they're all in the Facebook group. They have like a direct line to me, and I can't just go, "Hey, Nat Hand Mahoney," which is my favorite dude, by the way, because he's got a cool name, Nathan Mahoney, Nat Hand Mahoney. Come on, it's funny.
It's kind of funny.
You know, and Chad and Dave and all the dudes. I can't in good conscience say yes. You know, you should work, 15 hours to do this. You should take 3 days off of work to do this. I can't say that. You know, I can't say you should spend $300 on that and then not $300 on this other match. I can't in good conscience say that. You know, however, this is the part that I struggle with. So the Monday after the match, I spoke with the governor's office, and we talked about things that they can do better for next year, what changes I would make to the match and everything. So there is a large interest in the governor's office of making this a go-to match, something you want to go to year after year. The governor has 3 years left in office, so there's at least 3 more of these matches coming.
Well, that makes me really sad.
Why does it make you sad?
Because I've tried to do that.
What?
Well, we talked about it. We talked about it earlier this weekend with my own endeavor here with the Kirkwald match, my match.
Right.
I'm at the fifth time doing it. And it is just now maybe starting to take the shape of the thing that I envisioned at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which in this case is about the term of a term in office.
Yeah. It's tough, right? So they only have 3 more tries on making this badass.
Yeah.
Right?
And even if they hit it out of the park, they might lose the next election and it'll all go up in smoke.
Well, yeah, and that very well could be. And even if they do, well, so Governor Mead will be termed out in 3 years.
Oh, so it's inevitable.
Yes. So, even if they quote unquote win the election and the Republicans get in again.
So the
maybe that
political
guy's not,
winds are changing anyway.
Maybe that guy's not really interested in it, but their point and their idea is to get this entrenched in there. Mm-hmm. And so this is a thing that we do, and they can point to, look how many people come here and they see this on like a large national scale, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
I know how hard it is to build a must-attend event, to build the reputation that draws people from outside contiguous states.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's
hard. This is probably the first year I've done it. I drew a guy from Texas who kind of knew a guy who knew a guy who vouched for me.
Yeah.
All right. So,
that's how you get people is people vouching for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's. I wish them the best of luck.
I do too.
I really do. If there's any way that I can help them, I would do it.
Yeah.
I would do it.
Same, and I plan to.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I said, I believe in their vision.
Mm-hmm.
It's backed by the head political figure of their state.
Mm-hmm.
And Governor Mead is a freaking cool dude. I shot guns with Governor Mead. I can't say that the same about
Wyoming's a rad place. I would much rather travel to Wyoming than Virginia.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 10 times out of 10. Not even a tough call.
It's great.
So I would love to see more must-attend destination matches out west.
Yeah. So here's what I'll say to wrap this up, about the governor's match. Stay tuned to find out what's going to happen next year.
Something's going to happen.
Something's going to happen, definitely. And you're going to hear about it here on the 3 Gun Show because, I've talked with the dudes that are involved, and we're going to work to make it better. Mm-hmm. Any help that I can give them to make it better, whether that means introducing them to good people or that means giving them any sort of feedback on the match or whatever. I'm gonna help them any way I can because I believe in the vision. Mm-hmm. And I do have to say that in my experience, I won't shoot another competition dynamics 3-gun match. And I'm guessing because of this podcast, I probably won't be welcome at any of their long range matches. But there's plenty of opportunities out there. So
I guess I would say something is going to happen. Either something awesome is going to come out of whatever this experience was,
like a phoenix,
or some serious fireworks are going to ensue on the interwebs, and Dave and I are going to get lit up. And it's going to be fun to watch either way.
Yeah.
And really, we're in it for the clicks. So.
Yeah. Tim Yackley won, by the way.
Oh. You bastard.
I can't say that. It's proprietary.
It's already out.
Damn it. So that was my experience in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
And it won't be my last experience in Wyoming. I love Wyoming. I have a lot of friends there. And hopefully the governor's match turns out to be something better, but you'll hear about it on the 3 Gun Show if it does.
Yep. I mean, it's not a review, but it needs to evolve a little bit before we can get into the strategy of how to prepare for it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because in this, one thing I forgot to mention earlier is I did not make one note in my match notebook about this match. And yeah, I know if you know me and you know how I talk about it on the show, I have a match notebook, and I like to draw stages. I like to sketch them out, even if there's like a stage sketch somewhere else, because it helps me remember. I didn't draw anything on this. I didn't bother. There was no need to. There was nothing of importance out there to write down.
Is it proprietary information how you placed?
I don't even remember.
I mean, that's your intellectual property.
I don't even remember. It was somewhere in the 20s, I think. I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Are you a 20s guy? Like, is that typically where you're at?
Nah.
Well, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, I did well in the match. Not nearly as well as I should have, and not nearly as well as Becky Ackley. Unfortunately, she beat me again.
Again?
Yeah.
We gotta do something about that.
We do, man. Practice.
Yeah. You're gonna come to Middleton. We're gonna take you into the lab.
I'm in. Let's do it.
We're gonna pump you full of steroids and turn you into a 3-gun machine.
And tonight we'll go to Madison. What?
Yeah.
All right, man.
We'll find some sushi with cheese.
Sushi with cheese. All right, Adam. So that's my 2017 Wyoming Magpul Governor's match experience. Dude, thanks for sitting here and listening to the shenanigans.
That was a wild ride.
Didn't expect that was where it was going, did you?
3-gun show out.
Hey, before you take off, be sure to check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com/episode 192 for links to things that we discussed in the podcast. And if you like the Match Recon podcast, sign up as a Patreon supporter for more podcasts like this in real time. Patreon.com/3gunshow. That's Patreon. This podcast is brought to you by Breda USA, Italian shotguns that are the best in the world. And this is a shotgun tech tip from Team Breda. Hey, this is Dave Hartman from the 3-Gun Show, and I'm with Cheyenne Dalton from Team Breda, and she has a tech tip for us today. Cheyenne, what do you got?
So I think it's really important to practice using your match saver on your shotgun. It can really save your life on a stage, if you run dry. So what I like to do is set up a few targets, load 2 or 3 shells, and practice running the shotgun dry and using a match saver. So usually the match saver is right in front of your port, and you're going to take your left hand and scrape the shell back into the chamber and close the bolt, and that's how you do it.
Awesome. That's your tech tip from Cheyenne Dalton from Team Breda. Check out Breda's B12i 3-gun ready inertia-driven shotgun at BredaUSA.com. That's BREDA. This podcast is brought to you by Armalite, the original. Armalite rifles put the AR in AR-15. The rifles themselves come with 1-8 twist barrels, match barrels, 18-inch or 13.5-inch with a 15-inch or 12.5-inch handguard, Timney trigger, Luth AR stock, adjustable gas system, tunable comp, a patented tunable comp. This thing's ready to go right out of the box for a 3-gun with no additional modifications other than putting on a nice optic. I myself use a Vortex Viper PST 1-6 when I'm shooting TAC Ops or their Spitfire when I'm shooting limited. Check them out at armalite.com. Quick reminder that if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcast content, so you will always get the very latest. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.